The House is set to vote Friday on President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. The narrow Democratic majority is expected to pass. The bill without any changes before it heads to the Senate. Among a long list of priorities, the measure includes money for containing the coronavirus, direct payments of $1,400 for those who qualify, and emergency community and small business funding. Democratic Congressman Andy Levin of Michigan joins me now. He represents Detroit's northern suburbs and is a deputy whip for the House Progressive Caucus. Representative, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us.
Hi, Elaine. It's so great to be with you.
So the big question with this bill is whether it will boost the current minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025. Now, you say it's necessary. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the number of people in poverty would be reduced by 0.9 million. But as you know, it also estimates that 1.4 million jobs would be lost with such a raise. So how do you address that?
Well, what the CBO report proves, if you read it all together, is this would be a huge boost for the economy as a whole. It would give a raise to 27 million low-wage workers. It would add $333 billion of wages for workers over the next 10 years. And it would turbocharge us coming out of this horrible COVID recession. Because when we put money into the pockets of low-wage workers, they spend it. They spend it locally. They spend it in small businesses. And it would be a huge boost for the economy and, for communities like mine in Michigan's 9th District.
Well, you've also been supportive of widespread student debt cancellation for up to $50,000. Now, President Biden has resisted committing to anything beyond $10,000, saying that he doesn't want to write off debt, quote, for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn. What's your response to that? Well,
we're working with the administration on this, and I think that if we wrote off student debt for those people up to $50,000, it would disproportionately help poor people, help women, help people of color. And again, people have to realize the $1.7 trillion of student debt we have is holding back the whole economy. Young people can't move forward with buying a house, with having a family. If we could free them from this yoke of debt, it would really not only help them personally, but help the whole economy, and it would disproportionately help poor people and people of color. So it's a great idea.
We have a lot of issues to get through here. I want to ask you about another topic in the headlines. The Biden administration is reportedly reopening a second detention facility for unaccompanied migrant teenagers. Now, it comes as a federal judge indefinitely banned the government from enforcing a deportation moratorium. Now, according to the Associated Press, the order does not require them to continue deportations, but they're doing so anyway. Do you think that the president is living up to his promises when it comes to immigration?
Well, I think it's still very early, Elaine. I'm not thrilled about opening that center, but look at what the president's done. He has sent a lot of signals that we're going to have a fresh start on immigration policy, and that's what we need. We need to reimagine immigration policy to give dreamers a chance at citizenship in this country, to deal with 11 million undocumented people who are here working hard, paying taxes, just wanting to get their little part of the American dream, which is what my ancestors did when they came here. And that's what we can do to build the economy. So I think that the president's overall immigration proposal, so early and so comprehensive, was a great signal that he sent. And so this is a long road ahead of us. This is the early days. And I think in general, I remain super hopeful that the Biden administration will work with a wide array of actors in society, business and labor and immigrant rights groups and so many groups to transform our immigration policy in this country. And I hope we can do it even on a bipartisan basis.
In the short term, though, Congressman, I wonder what your concerns might be with these facilities, now a second one reopening. Well,
I mean, what I'm especially worried about is continued deportations by ICE. You know, I happen to represent more Iraqi-born people than any other member of Congress. And under the Trump administration, for the first time, we started mass deporting Iraqi nationals who had ever done anything wrong in this country. And the injustice of this was just overwhelming. I'm confident that the Biden administration will work with us to stop this. But if ICE is just allowed to continue with what it was doing before, as this judge in Texas is suggesting, it's of great concern to me. So I think that the Biden administration will get its arms around, as the Department of Homeland Security staffs up, get its arms around having a different kind of policy for, to allow immigrants who come here to seek asylum, if that's what they're doing, to be released to attend their hearings later, if that's what's appropriate. But I'm really worried about continuing deportations. We just deported a plane load or two of people to Haiti during the middle of a crisis there. That's not the way the U.S. should be helping Haiti during the COVID pandemic and while we have an undemocratic regime in Haiti ruling by decree and the human rights of everybody greatly in question there. So I'm very concerned about continuing deportations, for sure.
Congressman, I also want to ask you about President Biden's executive order this afternoon to review critical U.S. supply chains as the auto industry is being crippled by a chip shortage. What impact are you seeing in Michigan?
Yes, I'm so glad that President Biden is doing this. It's a big problem for us, Elaine. We need to start making things in this country again. The COVID pandemic showed us this. And now we talk about our fundamental manufacturing systems, like for cars. A car today has so many computer chips in it, and our auto companies can't get the chips. They're laying people off when we already have high unemployment. So we need to be looking at this, just as the president said, analyzing the supply chains in pharmaceuticals and in autos and in a wide range of critical industries. And we need to start having an industrial policy in this country where we facilitate manufacturing of everything we need right here with union workers in America. That's my goal. And Joe Biden is leading in the right direction on this. So it's a problem in the short term, but I like the way he's handling it.
Finally, Congressman, you've been around politics all your life. Your dad and your uncle, Sandy and Carl Levin, were the longest serving siblings, I believe, in the history of Congress. You know, I wonder, post-January 6th, there's a picture, post-January 6th and post-2020, after that alleged plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and other threats against officials, what is the political atmosphere like in the state of Michigan now?
Well, you know, I have to salute Governor Whitmer, who has stood up for science and public health, no matter what, during the pandemic. And it will redound to her benefit in the long run. But the plots that we've seen against her really were a preview that we should have taken note of that before the insurrection of January 6th here in the Capitol. We had armed people looking over the Senate gallery in our state capital of Lansing menacing state legislators who are trying to do their job. And so I think the vast majority of Michiganders want to have a normal, democratic process where Republicans and Democrats can discuss issues, and we don't have to agree on everything, but we can debate them and then vote and move on and do the people's business. But we have to take domestic terrorism seriously. Michigan has a problem with it, as do many other states, and we cannot accept people who want to, if they don't get their way, try to use weapons and potentially kidnapping a governor, as you mentioned, to undermine American democracy. We have a 230-year experiment with democracy in this country, and we have to nurture it and maintain it, and that includes taking domestic terrorism seriously.
Congressman Andy Levin of Michigan. Congressman, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Take care of yourself.